The United States government has been brought together to organize a counter-terrorist attack to amend justice in our country. Since 9/11, we have organized a coup to conduct an act that would bring Osama bin Laden, the terrorist leader, to justice. We set out to conquer the land of Pakistan where Osama bin Laden was hiding, and we found Osama bin Laden and brought him to justice, and the coup was taken out on Osama bin Laden's life. Osama bin Laden was the head of the attack on 9/11 that brought the Twin Towers crumbling down in New York City. It was an attack that led to the war on terror that was conducted in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Iran that made the Middle East turn into a ground of rubble. And we attacked the Middle East with force for 20 years and crumbled the Middle East to the ground. And we destroyed and prevented the Middle East from further terrorist attacks in the United States by implementing justice throughout the Middle East and eliminating threats all over the Middle East. We went in, we conquered, we destroyed, we eliminated threats, we got rid of what was alienating the United States' attempt to bring justice to the Middle East, and we found who we needed to find that was disrupting and corrupting the United States solely in the Middle East. We found all these leaders of Al-Qaeda and the Taliban and brought them to justice. We eliminated and set out coups on all these leaders that were terrorist leaders in the Middle East, and we brought them to justice and got rid of their command in the Middle East. We completely obliterated every force of injustice in the Middle East that we could find and brought Al-Qaeda and the Taliban to a stop. And it was in an effort that started in the Persian Gulf War and in Somalia, as well as every war we ever fought to eliminate threats in the United States. I wrote a book that is called United States Special Operations Command, Their Stories. And it documents many different wars in U.S. history and talks about the Navy SEALs, the Special Forces, and units in the Marines that were battalions that are special ops. U.S. Special Operations Command, SOCOM, is a group of people that are in the Navy SEALs, the Special Forces, or different battalions in the Marines, and they're solely elite forces that prevent other countries from attacking the United States in a harsh manner that would conduct tragedy throughout the United States. We go to war with other countries abroad and eliminate threats to the United States solely and fully, and we make an attempt to get rid of crime in war that's causing the United States an injustice. It's to the satisfaction and to the ultimate full cooperation of the United States government that we assess the situation in war in other countries as being a prominent danger to the United States of America. And so we go in with force, and as we did in Korea, as we did in Vietnam, as we did in the Persian Gulf War and in Somalia, and as we did in Afghanistan and Iraq and Iran, Saddam Hussein didn't stand a chance. We set out to attempt a coup on Saddam Hussein's life, to get rid of some dictator named Saddam Hussein who was heading Iraq, that was raping and ravaging the land of his own people. He was a threat to civilization in his own country. And he was a threat to the United States fully. We had to set out a coup on his life in order to protect the United States of America. This coup attempt led to the assassination of Saddam Hussein and eventually the assassination of Osama bin Laden, the terrorist leader who attacked the Twin Towers on 9/11. He brought them crumbling down, and this made the United States angry, and we conducted the War on Terror, which was led by President George W. Bush, who was a great leader who conducted the War on Terror to get rid of the problem in the Middle East that was causing danger throughout the United States of America. Throughout the land, there were terrorist threats and terrorist attacks on the United States of America conducted by the Middle East. And the Middle East was sending people from Afghanistan, from Iraq and Iran, and they were conducting terrorist activity within the United States in different regions throughout history. We went to war with the Middle East and eliminated all the threatening activity in the Middle East to eliminate the threatening activity that was going on in the United States of America that were terrorist acts. And we conducted this war that stopped the Middle East from sending over terrorists to our country. And it was a great act of counterterrorism that freed the United States from many threats and from terrorist activity all over the United States of America. as you'll see in my book, it discusses acts in the Middle East and activity in the Middle East, and each chapter is a different story about war conducted by SOCOM, United States Special Operations Command, U.S. Special Operations Command, that are either the Navy SEALs or the Special Forces or the Marine battalions that are in SOCOM, that are in U.S. Special Operations Command, that are eliminating threats all over the world. And it recaps, it's a historical military novel that recaps many different conflicts and wars throughout history. And it's a fictional novel, so it's a fictional account of this activity, and there's a lot of truth to it as well. Even though it's fictional, it indicates different activity that went on with a fictional account of certain events that may or may not have taken place in war throughout history. And these attacks did take place, but maybe not these specific attacks exactly. However, this sort of activity did go on throughout history in Vietnam, in Korea, in the Middle East, in the Persian Gulf, in Somalia. At the end of the book, there's a war that is described that is really some sort of a joke, because it is nothing that went on ever in the history of the United States of America, because we didn't go to war with Panama, and we don't go to war with Panama, and are not planning on going to war with Panama. So it's just an end to the book that's interesting, that is more of a joke than anything else. So read it with that understanding, with the way the book ends, and enjoy the book and conclude what you conclude from reading the different actions that took place throughout history in the United States and abroad. The book is going to be on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Ingram Lighting Source, Baker & Taylor, Bowker's Books in Print, and DoranceBookstore.com. And it's going to be in stores as well. So look for it in all these locations and enjoy the book. Again, it's called United States Special Operations Command, Their Stories.